Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to PSGL. We are here this evening for round number 2 of the championship. It should be a fantastic race around the Lusail International Circuit. My microphone is extremely low, so I can only apologize for that. There we go. That's a little bit better. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at Qatar for round number 2 of the championship. It should be a very good one. And as you can see on your screen, joining alongside me once again this evening, it is Timon. Timon, how are you keeping?
I'm doing well, as always. I mean, there's never a moment I'm not doing well. Always happy in life, and always will be. Hey, I'm looking forward again to a great race. Last time round, the race was incredible, pretty much. I really enjoyed it. Japan, it showed some good highs, some good lows. Ian Van Unen winning that race, and he was saying that he was predicting the quickest pole time of today. So I have high hopes for this race. Obviously, Qatar, it's a track where drivers will push all out, penalties will drop. Crashes could in theory happen, but we'll hopefully see many side-by-side racing moves and just have an incredible race in general.
Yes, hopefully it is a good race. Let's get straight into the proceedings from last week then. Of course, here is your championship standings from last week. Of course, we've only done the one round. Hold on a second, folks. Let me just enlarge that a little bit more for you. And there we go. That should be okay. But it is Ian Van Unen, of course, who won the Japanese Grand Prix last time out in Suzuka, and then it was Zorzo who came second for Mercedes. Newt then picking up his first podium since we visited Qatar last season. He came third in his Alpine, and then it was Shizu Knoll in fourth, followed by Kartzer in fifth, and Danielle took sixth with Covers taking seventh, Dirk in eighth, Diogo Silva in ninth, with Skyline picking up the last points paying position. But Thyman, it was a very interesting season opener in Suzuka, slightly messy, but we had some good racing action.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Japan, and it's not normally at the track where you'd expect great racing. So that's what positively surprised me the most. It was just great racing. Unfortunately, one incident which allowed Ian to take that victory, but we had a few drivers move up the grid, move forward, where it showed good potential, and we had other drivers who just had a very solid race all around. We had different strategies and people just doing different things. But at the end, of course, we had Ian win with Zorzo in second and Knuf in third. But for people like, we haven't really seen a lot from Covers because he got spun around, and he is one of the names that people tip to be very, very quick over this season. For me, Macho is someone who's always, I know he's very quick in qualifying. We haven't seen him last week. I think this will be a week where we'll see many, many surprises. And of course, we still got names like Will Murdoch, who we definitely can't count out.
Yeah, Will is one to watch. You never really know how Will is going to perform, whether he's going to be the best things than sliced bread or whether he's going to end up at the back of the pack. But let's take a look at your track then for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have an on-screen graphic for the sale this season. It is a 5.380 kilometer circuit with 16 corners, 6 to the left and 10 to the right. The lap record, of course, does belong to Max Verstappen. A bit like many lap records these days, but the top speed around here, it is 321 kilometers per hour. The longest straight is from turn 16 down towards turn number 1. But although it is quite a long straight, very high downforce levels is why we don't really see the highest top speed in Formula 1. But a fabulous circuit here at Losail. Some people say there's not many overtaking opportunities. Apologies, Timon. Is that the case, or is that just sort of a uncommon, or sort of an untrue theory, I should say?
For me, I don't think it's all that true. I mean, you've got a few nice corners where you can send it. Of course, on the main straight coming in towards turn 1, you can go for it. And if you got the notification on your top right, Discord's bugged. So it will be fun for the next couple of tiers. But in turn 6, of course, in that sharp left-hander, you can properly send it as well. But you've got a few very high-speed corners where if you do send it up the inside, you need to be fully alongside, because otherwise you can just expect people to close that door and for it to go very, very wrong. But although we have these Discord issues, we are all ready to go. The drivers are starting to ready up, and soon we will be able to go under action around Lusail.
Yes, we will soon. It's one of the newer circuits on the Formula 1 calendar, of course, but while we have the cameras on for a couple last seconds, we'd once again like to remind you to check out our title sponsors, GT Omega. Hold on, I need to sit like this. Ignore that other logo in the background. Check out GT Omega. You can see me and Timon pointing to it there. They are, of course, our title sponsors for PSGL Season 35. Hopefully we don't have too many issues with Discord. I can hear Timon. Hopefully Timon can hear me. You can still see Timon on your screen, so we're both okay. We'll let you know of any communications issues live on the broadcast, of course. But as we are loading in, we have our qualifying poll going in the chat. 27% of you have voted for my co-commentator, so glad to see the Timon support. Although they are saying there's a more likely chance of Timon to take pole than there is for Max or Zane. Ian Van Unen with 58% of the vote. He, of course, took the race win last time out in Suzuka. It was a very, very impressive drive for Ian, I've got to say. Timon, can he repeat that here tonight, or will there be a bigger challenge for the Dutchman?
Asking me to make a guess at this point. You're asking me to just roll dice and hope it lands on 6. This grid is so competitive. We got 17 drivers in here that, in my eyes, could all in theory take this victory here, and you never really know what is going to happen. Ian, he wasn't the quickest. He wasn't on pole last time round. I believe he was in 3rd position. And really his race pace showed that he was the quickest there. Of course, he got somewhat lucky because there was an incident behind and that space did open up. But besides that, I think it was all a very good race from Ian. But qualifying-wise, I do not know if he quite has the pace to show it there. But for the race, he can definitely be up there again.
Well, we will wait and see whether the Ian Van Unen party train can continue. There's cars coming out to start qualifying here at the Losail International Circuit. A man we didn't see last week, it was Philip, who's in the McLaren here for this evening. Your McLaren main drivers, of course, are Skyline and Dark. Neither here this evening, only the one McLaren representative, and it is the newcomer. But of course, McLaren took the sprint race win in Qatar in real life. Qatar are host of an official F1 sprint race in 2023. Philip will be looking to continue that good form for the Papaya team around Qatar, although I'm not too sure Zach Brown will be tuning in this evening. Further down the grid, another man to keep an eye on, this is Shazoo Knoll. He took his first PSGL F2 podium here last time out in Qatar. That was, of course, last season, season 34. It was a race won by Irpek, but Knoll did take an impressive third place. One of the youngest men ever to stand on a PSGL F2 PS podium, of course. Knoll is a really young driver, so you do got to keep an eye on him, but was struggling slightly with his car control last week, as Timon most certainly pointed out a few times. We saw him almost spin round. Will Knoll have a bit more confidence here this evening after getting a fairly decent result here last year? Or last season, apologies. It was still this year.
Funny that you said last year, because that was what I was going to base it up on. Last year he had a very good race, and I think if he can, if he's able to maintain that momentum, it should be all good. Let's go on board with Philip. I was going to say Phil the whole race, but Philip makes sense with the LP behind it there. He is the one that starts the first hot lap around Losail. The track, it is an absolutely beautiful one. They're located inside the desert, 5.3 kilometers with 16 turns in total. 10 of those go to the right, 6 of those go to the left, currently in sector 1. It's just a good banker lap time that you want, because grip plays such a big factor around this track, and I do not expect anyone to go with their banker laps into the 20s, and if it does happen, we're in for a very good qualifying session. Currently coming up towards zone 6, it's one of the more crucial ones. You don't want to lock up your front left here, but I do believe you can run multiple lines through there. And Philip seemingly taking it all very decent. Don't have any sector splits yet to compare him to, but he has passed the first sector split. Now coming in towards a little bit of the twisties, taking a hit to the left, fully using that curb as much as possible. Then a quick right-hander early on the brakes again for this left-hander, which is harder than you would expect. The amount of times I've gone off there when I did my first Qatar race was probably 5 out of 5 laps. Now coming towards all these right-handed turns, I do believe that they are all nearly flat or even fully flat at all. Let's see if Philip does take them all flat, and he does. So yeah, these 3 corners fully flat out. It's absolutely amazing the amount of confidence and downforce that these cars can run, and in this game as well, it is amazing to see them go as fast as possible like this. And this track certainly allows for very close qualifying times, but let's see what bank lap time Philip can put on the board. Mateo Mio joins the session, but Philip, what lap time has he set the finish line being very late on the straight here? It's a 27.98.
Yeah, decent lap, 20.7. Look, it's a lap on the board. Invalidations are easy around this circuit, so to get a lap on the board in the early stages is positive. Here comes Shazoo Nolden, heading for the final corner now, turn number 16. Let's see where the young lad can go. The Alpha Tauri heading down this long straight, as Timon correctly pointed out. The start-finish line is very late here. That's going to be quickest from Knoll. He goes to a 20.2. There's an Alfa Romeo in the background completing his lap. That was Zane. Unfortunately, wasn't valid. There goes Danielle to second spot. Then there's going to be one of the 2 Ferraris. That was Macho, who's gone to third. We're looking at Jacob Conius heading through the penultimate corner. That's OP Covers, who goes to the top, 120.1. A man who they say should be an F1. He's looking to prove that here this evening. The Ferrari now heading down the main straight. There was improvement there for Fede as well, who goes to 4th. Now Johan beats him for 4th. There goes Jacob Conius up to 5th spot. There's a Williams in the background. That is going to be the Williams of Diogo Silva, who had a decent running last week in Suzuka, looking to improve upon it, of course, here in Qatar. There goes Diogo to the line. It's only going to be 8th for the time being. Zorzo heading through the penultimate corner. Of course, we saw a incident involving a Mercedes and a Ferrari here in PSGL F1 last season. That was, of course, the PC tier, where we saw Jake Benham and Barry Burman having a little bit of an incident. You can watch that clip on the YouTube channel, of course, after our proceedings here this evening. That's Zorzo, who goes to 9th, and there's a Haas in the background as well. That's just Ghost Kings, who is starting his run, and you can see Tales and Diogo Silva running in unison. Tales, one of many not to get a lap on the board. Ian Van Unen hasn't actually left the pit lane yet, so he's not going to get out. And Max van der Geest is also just trailing around the circuit. He's not been able to get a time on the board just yet. Ghost King's won a few, I think, still on a run, so we'll keep tracking with him. But Covers quickest. It's still fairly close between himself and Knoll, however.
he did invalidate his lap time. Same thing as Ghost King has just now done, but Ian had a pretty massive snap. I do believe it was an exit out of this corner a little bit too early on the throttle, which was a really big shame for Ian, and it means that he is not going to be able to set his first lap time. But with all these many track invalidations, it does make you think that will penalties run a big factor in this race? Because of course, 3 track limit warnings and you will be having a 3-second time penalty, which in a race like this could be very crucial, because I do believe that we will be getting some nice DRS trains today. Drivers being very close to each other, looking to overtake each other whenever possible. Ghost Kings, he is going to finish the lap, although he does have invalidated. Misses the apex very nicely in the final corner, and now he's going to be running up towards that line, which pretty much seems to run on forever. You're going to think, oh, I'm on a good lap, and then the finish line is just so late, and he only does a 7.77, which would have put him up in towards 10th spot in second last position. But nearly everyone's in, besides Ghost King, so we're just going to be playing the waiting game again, and going to see who comes out on top for round number 2, which Philip will start.
I think it's the first ever time I've heard nice DRS trains be the adjective of choice. Sometimes DRS trains can be a little bit boring, but here at Qatar, they can be quite interesting because you certainly do get a bit of a slipstream down the main straight. This is not really a competitive lap from Ghost Kings. I think he was just finishing it, maybe just for a little bit of a cider. I'm not really too sure why he did, but we will wait and see. I do apologise if my microphone is a little bit off. It's having the opposite effect. Usually it's way too high and I can't control it. Now it's way too low and I can't control it. So hopefully it is okay. 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go here in qualifying for the Qatar Grand Prix. If you're just joining us, welcome along to PSGL F2, the second highest tier on PlayStation, where we have 18 drivers looking to go for glory and get their names noticed by the top dogs at PSGL and make their way into PSGL F1. If you are enjoying the action, we would of course appreciate a subscription to the YouTube channel. We would also appreciate if you checked out our title sponsors, GT Omega of course, providers of fabulous sim racing products and desk chairs like me and Thyman both have. It's Black Friday coming up, folks. Make sure you get yourself a good deal there on GT Omega. As Covers comes out of the pit lane now, we head back to the racing action. Currently the quickest man in qualifying, 1:20.174. 2021, of course, was the first time Qatar hosted an F1 race. The country agreed a 10-year deal to host the sport from 2023. Of course, the first race being just a few weeks ago, where Verstappen wrapped up his 3rd World Championship title. But saying that, I'm pretty sure there's a different circuit coming. I don't think we're always going to be here at the Losail International Circuit, so that could be an intriguing one to look out for. But I think finally Philip has actually started his lap. Yes, he has, heading for the middle sector now. Let's see the McLaren as he heads down towards turn number 6. It is one of the slowest corners on the circuit, but Philip has found a 10th and a half here, heading for the first sector.
Showing on my screen that it was a purple sector 1, but 1.5 tenths improvement certainly does him well and sets him up for a good lap time. Maybe he made a little bit of a mistake that we didn't quite notice because he didn't really have anything to compare it on last time round. But Philip, now again, to me it looks very smooth, and with that 1.5 tenth improvement it will be looking nicely. Let's see what he can do now. 3 and pretty much a 0.5 tenth up. We'll already see him make quite that big jump up towards 4th, 5th. And that is the position that Philip will be looking to score in, because this is still his debut race in PSGL. But if you make a mistake like that, go wide in the second to last corner, you will be invalidating your lap time. And it does mean that all your hard work and effort were pretty much for nothing. And now the next person only on a lap will be Ian van Unen. Our championship leader and only race winner is currently on his hot lap. Let's see what he can do and just go on board with him through turn 4 and 5. You want to just absolutely send it, which is pretty much just the definition of every single corner around here. But it's a 26.2, which is quicker than the first sector time that Philip set. So that is very promising. Again, a little bit of a slide on the exit. Now, coming through towards turn number 8, or 7 actually, excuse me, because this is turn number 8 into 9 and 10 up here. The Losail actually does not have any corner name. So what I said last time round is that I was going to learn a corner name from every single circuit. Unfortunately, it's not possible. This track doesn't have any. Now, coming through towards turn 12, 13 and 14, still fully flat out. It is a 0.9 for the middle sector split, which seems very promising. I do believe that Ian van Unen is actually going to prove everyone correct in that YouTube poll, because he seems to be setting a very nice lap. So it's a big slide there, saves it, keeps it valid. Now in the final corner, braking at the right moment, hitting the inside curve, but now coming towards the exit. And I do believe that this is quite a nice lap time from Ian van Unen. His deploy has been used, which means that he did not turn it off where he was supposed to. But still, let's see what he can do. It's a 20.3, which means it was not the best lap from Ian. He can definitely go quicker, but it is a very good banker lap time, which he needed to put down. All focus for him on the final one now.
There goes Covers, improves the benchmark, 20.0, very nice lap from Hope He Covers. Here comes Danielle, who was tracking well, he's in 4th spot, was slightly down in the middle sector, but has improved well here in the final. Is this lap going to jump him up? It's going to put him ahead of the Dutchman. Danielle goes ahead of Ian Van Unen. Johan, purple in that 2nd sector. He heads through the triple right-handers now, and he has a left and a right to go here at this Losail International Circuit. Currently tracking in the 105s. This is not a bad lap, actually, for Johan, as that's Jakob Konias, who is out. He's actually crashed, heading through turn number 15. We'll take a look at the Ferrari in smithereens in a moment, but here comes Johan across the start-finish line. Where can the Red Bull go? It's going to improve, but it's not actually a time improvement. So he's lost out. Or, sorry, it's not a positional improvement, I should say. It was a 10th of a second time improvement. Diogo Silva goes up to 7th. Fede heading for the final couple of corners now. That was an improvement from Max van der Geest, who goes to 3rd. So it's Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, 3 of the top dogs in Formula 1, who are up there tracking well in qualifying. Here comes Fede to the start-finish line for Alfa Romeo. What can he do across the line? It's going to be 8th position. Still loads of times not on the board. Newt being one of them. Podium sitter last time out here at the Losail International Circuit. He's currently heading through turn 15, where we saw the Aussie crash in his Scuderia Ferrari, but we'll wait and see what the German can do. This is sort of a driver's circuit, and Newt's certainly appreciative of the skill it takes to lap around this track. Here he comes, though, towards the start-finish line. Where can Newt go? It's only going to be 7th. That's not the worst in the world. It's a nice point to build off as there's a car round. That's Ghost Kings heading through turn 15. Same mistake Jacob made. He just made it on the right-hand side instead of the left. And on the right-hand side, you have a lovely mural and very wide runoff. On the left-hand side, you unfortunately have an Armco barrier, so that's why the Ferrari is out and Haas can carry on. Still no laps from both Aston Martins, Thales, Ghost Kings and Zane.
Let's speak about both Aston Martins, because Amadeo was on a lap time, but he has unfortunately bailed out on his lap. Jacob Konias unfortunately spinning out of the second to last corner, aka turn number 15. I think he just went on the throttle a little bit too early, lost it, and just did a full 360 into the wall there, because it would make no sense to go into the wall on purpose, and with the angle he was there, the only logical explanation would be a 360. So I think Jacob Konias has just cost himself a lot of positions for the race, because a 20.4 was a very solid banker lap time, which he put down, and from that moment onwards, if he was able to improve on that, I think he would have had a very nice grid start. But Jacob Konias will be starting his race from a lot further back than he would have probably wanted. Besides that moment, everyone back into the pit lane. Even Knuf is entering the pits, and with 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go, it's time to wait again for that dreaded final run. Going to be able to see who's going to go first out. I do believe it's probably going to be Phil again. He's been out all the time, and you see McLaren guy running out, and indeed Phil will probably be the first lap, first man to set his final run in Q, or in the only qualifying session really. Few fun facts about Losail. You can actually rent this whole track out for like a day as a whole. So like if you just want to have a solo track day all by yourself, if you have enough money, you can do it right here. You just need to travel to Qatar. Losail also hosts a lot of training days where you can just take a run or a cycle on the circuit. They actually do it quite frequently. And Losail actually has a big off-road racing circuit where they test 4x4 vehicles to see if they're actually made properly.
So interesting. Maybe we can finally have our PSGL commentators race, but do it in actual cars. I'm sure the drivers won't be furious that we get to drive cars around the track before they do. I think the World Endurance Championship is coming here to Qatar as well in the near future. I can't remember if it's 2024 or if it's years far, but I think it's coming here at some point. Now, of course, we've only had 2 Formula 1 races here. This is our second year here in PSGL. At the I keep saying year, second season here in PSGL at the Losail International Circuit. We've had 1 F2 race, and I think we've only had 1 of all races apart from PC, apologies, which is obviously a couple of days ahead of us in terms of the scheduling. In terms of our quali vote, then, it was Ian Van Unen who's the clear favourite for pole, according to you folks watching at home. 54% say Ian's going to take pole. 21% say Timon, who's alongside me in the commentary box, is going to take pole, so that's optimistic from a few of you in the chat. 21 for OP Max van der Geest, and unfortunately, poor Zane only has 2% of the vote. He is last in qualifying. So that's could be a little bit of a bad omen for the Alfa Romeo. But Philip gonna get ready to go on his next hot lap, rounding through turn number 16. It was an invalidation through the previous corner, turn 15, is what ended his second attempt. So let's see what he can do now. Down towards turn number 1, the McLaren is gonna take this in about 4th or 5th gear, I reckon. You want to brake as late as possible. He's gonna use 5th gear, doesn't opt for that 4th gear rotation. Goes out to the outside curb and then prepare for this next left-hander. This first sector, very high speed. The highest speed sector of the track, I should say, is of course the last sector where we do have those triple right-handers. But just tread the needle through here. Don't want to push too far because you will invalidate your lap. You can see Phil a little bit off the exit of the corner because I don't think he wants to take too much risk. He does want to get a better time on the board because he's currently last at the timed runners. Down towards then turn number 7. Bit of traffic in front, looking to avoid this. Not a bad lap so far though from the McLaren.
If you're looking to finish that last lap of his very strong, and even if he does invalidate, he probably has enough time to go again, recharge that ERS, but I don't know if he will be having enough fuel. Now coming through towards these stones again, it is a 2/10 improvement, which is a lot less than he was doing last time round, because at this point he was 3.5 tenths up, so I do not think Phil is on the best lap here, but he will be hoping to improve at least jump Jacob, because that will be one free position anyways. Sorzo is in the pit lane, so he will be able to jump him as well, so he's looking to do at least a 20.479. Let's see if he can beat that on that long run towards the straight. He doesn't turn the ERS off on time. Little trick there that even I know as a commentator, but he does not use that little trick. Let's see who's next up towards the line. I do think it is a Red Bull. Is it Johan? Oh no, it is just Max starting to lap.
Covers under pressure. He's invalidated his final lap of the session. Ooh. Meaning it's all to take. It's between Macho, Max, and Noel, who is rounding the final corner now. Let's see, can the AlphaTauri take pole here where he took his first podium in PSGL? It's been a good track for him so far. Is it a great track? It absolutely is a great track for Noel. Pole position for now, 120.0. Can it be beaten? How is the rest of the field tracking? Macho not improving by enough in that middle sector. We'll take a look at the fellow Red Bull powered mobile. That is, of course, Max van der Geest. Keep an eye on Danielle as well. There goes Thales to third, first lap of the day. The Aston Martins are coming towards the start-finish line. Here comes Dirk across the line. Oh my goodness me! From the back to the front, Dirk takes provisional pole. Ian set the exact same lap. He set the exact same lap here in Qatar, but he said it later, so he will not take pole position. Danielle to the line, cannot improve. Max van der Geest has spun it through turn 15. Here comes Johan to the start-finish line. Can the Red Bull put it amongst the sister cars? No, he cannot. Here comes Macho. Is it a late miracle for Ferrari? I don't believe it. It is 119.996. Macho steals it at the death. There's still a few more to come round here. Ghost King's included in that bunch. Can he maybe go from back to front here in Qatar? The track evolution is incredible, but Ghost Kings won't do it. 15th for him. Here comes Matteo. He'll jump to 12th, and Zane has backed off his lap. Macho takes it here in Lusail. It was 2 Italian cars, the favourite for a pole. The third one has sweeped in and taken the front grid position for the Qatar Grand Prix. Look how close that is at the top. It was an equal lap for Dirk and Ian. I think Ian was about 1,000 behind, and that's probably what it will say in the results. But 5 cars within 1/10 of a second, but Macho leaps and bounds ahead in front.
Exactly. It is an amazing lap time from Macho. He ran very wide. I do believe it was out of turn 7. He fully missed the apex there, but still got a 0.9 down. But last week, I really spoke about Macho being a bit of a qualifying merchant. One of the guys that would take poles at least once this season, and he's already shown it. And Qatar, it must have been a good track for him because a 0.9 is a very solid banker lap time. Macho with the Qatar flag as well. He definitely should be liking this track then. Only person in the 119s which is very nice from him. Our championship leader as well, Ian, don't forget, he is in 3rd position, so he's done very nicely. But he matched the exact same lap time with the man in 2nd place, TF10, Dirk. Then running down the grid, we do have Noel, Covers, again, F1 pace, worthy enough? Who knows, we have to find that out later. Thales in 6th, Danielle in 7th, Johan. Then we got Max, Diogo Silva, who rounds out the top 10. Then you got Knuf, Matteo, Zane and Fede. You got 12, 13 and 14, all Italians. Then you got Jacob Konias, Ghost King, and then Philip and Zorzo in last place. Zorzo, we got last week. He ended up in 2nd place after some post-race penalties for Knuf. From 2nd place to starting in 18th, that is not the start of the season or for this race that you are looking for and the pace that you want to maintain over the course of the season. Of course, you want to maintain that pace and set a way better result.
Folks, we'll be back after a commercial break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lusail International Circuit, which is located on the outskirts of the capital city of Doha. It was built in preparation for hosting Qatar's first MotoGP event in 2004, with the circuit being completed in just over a year. Incredible work from all building this fabulous racing facility. There is a 371-metre run from the grid slot of the Scuderia Ferrari down to the apex of the first corner. That's what's going to have to be defended if you want to lead the opening phases here at Qatar. But it's not necessarily do or die all on the opening lap, because it's a difficult turn number 1 to overtake in on these opening laps. But of course, we saw incidents involving cars in Formula 1. We saw the 2 Mercedes hit each other. The 2 Mercedes today will be hoping to avoid that. But an intriguing qualifying session here in Qatar. Timon, one name. Who wins it?
Looking at the points, would be the man that's 2nd favourite. If just so percentage-wise, would probably be me winning it. No, yeah, if I really had to choose someone, Ian's gonna do the double.
Ian to do the double. I like that prediction. Let us know down below who you think is going to win, as we have 5 red lights here at the Lusail International Circuit. And we go racing here in Qatar. That's a brilliant launch from Ian Van Unen off the 2nd row. He's up and alongside Dirk, heading in towards turn number 1. Both AlphaTauris looking to make moves as there's a Red Bull diving up the inside. That's a big move from Johan. He's all had to avoid an incident with a Williams there as they head through the first couple of lefts and rights for the opening time. The Mercedes are covers up the inside of Shazoo Knoll here. Knoll looking vulnerable as they head down towards the middle sector for the first time. Danielle and Tails side by side. Thales already losing a spot here in this one, could lose another. Max van der Gies trying the outside line here in the opening couple of sectors. We've lost nobody though, they're all safely through. Still some dives down the inside, bit of a move there from Mateo, you can see in the bottom hand of your screen, but Macho safely away and into the lead of this Grand Prix.
It's an incredible start from Macho. It is exactly what he needed to do. Ian trying to go around the outside, that unfortunately didn't happen. We don't have any massive movers already because we don't have any tyre strategy happening so far. Only Zorzo having a different tyre. There's a few spinners around there. I do believe it's Thales and Jacob Konias who did make contact with each other. I do at least know that Thales has fully spun around Johan. Meanwhile, up the inside, going there off Diogo Silva, making another position, make that too, because he also gets his teammate done with that position. Both Alfa Romeo swapping because Zane is dropping back. I do believe Zane has wing damage because he is letting the rest of the field go past. But besides that, a bit which Max van der Gies standings. Let's see what he can do today.
Yeah, threading the needle in towards turn number 1. Got past about 3 or 4 cars there down the main straight. Incredible stuff from Zorzo. He's up 7. Your biggest gainer on the opening lap. Your biggest loser was Thales, of course. But I think you could add Max van der Giest's name to that list as well. Wasn't the start he was looking for. Zorzo, the only man on the soft compound tyres. Or not anymore, apologies. The only man who started on the softs. Max van der Giest now on the softs as well, as is Thales on the medium tyre. So we'll take the tyres off screen for the time being. We'll bring them up as we get closer to the pit window. but we got to take them off just to give you more beautiful views of these race cars going around here under the Qatari night sky. And Ian Van Unen is piling the pressure on Dirk here. He has a full tank of battery. There's not much been used. The top two have used a little bit, not too much, a little bit. Still definitely a manageable deficit for the Ferrari and the Aston Martin, but look how close they're all running to Macho here through the triple right-handers. These are high-speed corners, and any form of dirty air chucked over your front wing can cause the car to unsettle a lot through there, so it's great to see the skill being showcased so far. We round through turn 16 for the second time, and as we head onto the main straight, DRS will be enabled. These guys won't get it now, but they'll get it the next time round. But here comes Ian Van Unen. Does he even need to wait for the drag reduction system? It could be the 2 and the 1 here if he plays his cards right. Van Unen gonna risk it all in towards the first corner. AlphaTauri from third to first here in Qatar. What an incredible move from the Dutchman. He's got that one stopped. Perfect maneuver. His teammates lost the place, but it's swapping and changing here in the opening phases. Van Unen leads for the first time in Qatar.
Still side by side coming up towards turn number 4 there. Who has the most confidence? Who breaks the latest? It is Covers. He takes that position. Done from Noel. And Covers again proving why he needs to be a place or a tier up in his opinion. Of course, Matteo setting a little bit of a dive bomb behind Knut for not really going for that move. And everyone is still in a DRS train besides everyone outside of that top 15. I do believe that Zayn did have wing damage, but he is just going slowly, I guess, outside of the DRS train, so it will be a very lonely race for the Alfa Romeo driver. But from this one onwards, we just have to focus on Ian Van Unen again, because he was chilling on 100% ERS when he made that move. He has so much confidence, so much pace in hand, and that is also why I predicted Ian to have that double. He seems to be one of the main championship contenders. So much pace, so much speed in that car that he is controlling, and the only thing he would love is to drive outside of the DRS range once again, just like last week, but he needs something magical to happen. First round now, going to be having DRS. It's a moment from Ian, and Dirk goes off as well. 2 warnings for both of them, which is not nice to see at all. Already 3 laps into the race means that they need to be a little bit more careful on track limits. No real overtake is going to happen besides Daniel, because he's trying to overtake Noel, who goes offensive on the inside into turn 1 around the outside, tries to go Noel, but or Daniel, but no moves happened there.
No, but optimism from Daniel. Gotta say, great racing in the opening 4 laps here at this Qatar Grand Prix. Seemingly, or according to the stream chat, I should say, Ian was 3/10 off his PB in qualifying, so there's definitely pace in hand for the AlphaTauri if he could find it after a potential qualifying blunder. Still got a good race start. Big dive from Covers, George Russell-esque up the inside. We saw that a few times from the Mercedes in real life. We're seeing it a few times from the Mercedes here in PSGL. Macho is the man to defend from it. It looked like Macho might have been sent round and sent facing the opposite way. But all good for now, and it was rubbing, but rubbing is racing, as Dale Earnhardt once would have said, as Covers just has to sit behind for the time being. But the thing about Covers here is he's used a good bit of his battery compared to those cars in front. He's got to try and manage this a little bit better, otherwise he may slowly slip back towards the end of this race. There's not a lot of heavy braking zones here in Qatar, so you've got to be really careful with your ERS management. It is a big part of this race. It is a big part of winning the Qatar Grand Prix, so you've got to manage your ERS really, really well. But running from the final corner now, lap number 4 of 29 being completed. Bit of weaving from the Dutchman in front, but it seems like he'll be all okay in the lead of this race for the time being. Here comes Danielle at the second attempt on the AlphaTauri. There's a move in the background as well. That's the Mercedes' Zorzo, who's trying one up the inside of Johan. Of course, he's on the much better tyres and he gets the job done, but Johan has got the up and under, and Johan has completed a beautiful switchback heading through turn number 1. The Mercedes has been sent to the shops for the time being. Better tyres, but maybe not better skill, as Johan, crafty as ever, completes the move and stays in 9th. Noel, first penalty of the day, very early on in the race here. And will penalties play a big part of this one, Timon?
I mean, it's so easy to pick up a penalty 5 laps in, and you get Noel picking up a penalty. And it's not like these drivers make that mistake often. It is just so incredibly easy to make that small mistake and to pick up one of those penalties. Of course, it was chaotic in lap 1, and we may see some penalty removals, but that's an issue for ourselves after this race. But picking up a penalty on lap 5, you're not comfortable with anyways. You just want to be able to chill and be allowed to make a mistake, because if you make a mistake now, you're going to pick up those 3 seconds. And if you just calculate a little bit, if Ian picks up a 3-second penalty, he's going to drop down to like, what, 7th?
Yeah, exactly. It's a big risk running so close to the track limits. And we saw Ian actually head off for the final corner, I should say, a couple of laps ago. So he's got to be careful on that, because all those add up. at the end, and penalties don't equal prizes. Points equal prizes. You want to get the most points you can. Remember, 16 for a win here in PSGL, 12 for second. Ian picked up 16 the first week in Suzuka, but it was actually the man who's currently in 10th who picked up 12. Zorzo, though, did have a poor qualifying, and he's looking to work back through the pack here today in PSGL F2. For now, though, it seems to have settled down for a little bit. Timon, what lap will we potentially see pit stops? Because they're all on a very similar tyre. Well, they're all on the exact same tyre.
Lap 8. And then I'm, of course, talking about Zorzo. No, I don't really know. Strategically, I'm not a mastermind. But Drive's got those engineers for it who will know a lot better. But what I do know is that Zorzo's tyres are already starting to die off a little bit because he's unable to put pressure and really force an overtake on Johan again. Of course, we saw him make that move, but get done really nicely with a switchback back from Johan. And all Zorzo now really needs to do is just stick in that DRS train for as long as possible and then make a pit stop whenever he can't remain in it anymore. Then have an undercut on those either hard or medium tyres and then just try to overtake as many drivers as possible and then just try to survive in that train. That's the strategy Zorzo is going for, but with one lucky safety car, Zorzo could count himself very, very rich. Now coming back up towards the main straight again is Noel this time, being very close behind the rear end of Daniel, but Daniel using a little bit of ERS to make that mistake go away again, and still covers. He only made that dive early on, still unable to really find his way past any other cars. Up front, it's all still very chill. Macho tried to go a little bit, just peek around the outside of Dirk, see where the possibilities are and see where he's quicker. But of course, he lost 2 positions in once, and that is the risk that Qatar has. If you use your ERS properly, you are able to make that jump and just jump 2 drivers who are battling with each other, make it 3 miles, take the inside line and make that move happen. That's the beauty of Qatar. And normally DRS trains, they are fairly boring, but this track allows for DRS trains to be somewhat exciting.
You can see it on your screen now, folks. It's not something I often bring on the broadcast, but while we're talking about battery, we have the telemetry on screen. You can see that it's all in the high numbers, in the high 70s, low 80s, apart from covers. He's in the 40s, struggling. Daniel also. And yeah, you can see the further we go down the grid, the worse the ERS gets. But Mute is... he had his aggressive approach last week in Japan. He's now back to his more composed outlook on things, and he's just sat behind with 73% ERS, and then it gets even better. Oh, Zorzo could be struggling, but remember, Zorzo is going for a push stint. He's going to conserve later on in the race, because he started on the tyre for a push stint, but lap 7 at 29, going on to lap 8 if you're enjoying the action here in PSGL. Once again, a reminder to pop a subscription on the YouTube channel. Down towards turn number 1, which is the only overtaking opportunity that we've really seen this race. The AlphaTauri in front pulls out of the slipstream because look at this, Dirk really close. Can he go for this into the first corner? No, he lifts off and sits behind. So Dirk going to manage this one to the pit window, it seems. Maybe we'll try an undercut. We will have to wait and see, of course. That's for the strategists, the engineers and the driver's job to do. The majority of these drivers would have an engineer, wouldn't they, Timer?
For sure. No, but what Dirk is doing, he's just chilling behind there, maintaining his ERS level and getting his battery pretty much fully back up because he knows he's able to save ERS a lot quicker and better than Ian can. And what Ian is doing is not using any ERS as well. I mean, he doesn't mind being in the lead. Of course, you get no dirty air, less risk of penalties, but if there's any mistake behind, the smallest bits of contact between Macho and Dirk, and it does allow Ian to drive away from the DRS train, he will fully be able to send it. And he's currently just chilling on 7/10s. So again, this is a situation where they need to watch out, using a little bit of that ERS to just close that gap right back up again from 7.5 to 6.5, and now just in those corners, you have that extra momentum earlier on, just able to maintain it and close that gap again, and that's pretty much what it is. But hey, a little bit of a mistake again. It's the second time we have caught Dirk going off track. That's the third time, but clearly somewhere there was no warning given for that. I'm not the best at where there is a warning, where there isn't, where you do get time or where you don't. But all I know is that Dick, in my eyes, has gone off 3 times, which he can only consider himself very lucky that doesn't have a penalty just yet. Gap being 8/10, and is this a lap for Ian to push and drive away from Dirk?
Yeah, Ian is going to try and capitalise on the sort of vulnerabilities of the Aston Martin behind. We're seeing Dirk struggling. Seeing Dirk struggling here in this race to keep up maybe with Ian. Maybe he feels he has to track extend a little bit just to keep up with the AlphaTauri in front. Once again, apologies if I'm a little bit quiet. I'm speaking very close to my microphone just to get the audio levels. So yeah, apologies for that if the stream is not up to the quality that you expect here in PSGL F2. but the race is certainly up to the quality that we expect. It is still so close here in the middle of the pack, and it's going to be so close until very close to the end of the race. Even last season, Irpek was about 5/10 a lap quicker than everybody, and it still came down to the wire, so keep an eye on that one. We, of course, had a last lap crash last season as well. Gabriel was involved in an incident and got spun round. He was, of course, a championship challenger for Irpek, but he did leave the league, or he left the tier, at least, about halfway through the season, so Irpek sort of ran away with it, but we're not going to have that this season. This is one of the closest grids I've probably seen here in my time in F2. This is my 4th season of F2 action, and certainly it just seems to be getting closer and closer. So you're going to want to watch us every week, 7 PM, folks, apart from in 2 weeks' time. We have a break week, but here comes Macho. Tucked into the slipstream of the Aston Martin. He's not really close enough. Could be a bit of movement in the background. It seems like it's all the action is coming from this battle really for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. It seems like from Noel down to about Zorzo. That's where all the overtaking is happening. You said about lap 8 for the soft tyre pit window in the form of Zorzo timing. Has he exceeded your expectations, bringing this tyre to lap 10?
Certainly, but to me it was only a matter of time until Zorzo dropped out of the DRS. And whenever he was going to drop out, I would have expected him to make that pit stop. But clearly he's trying to stall it and get over towards those medium tyres, which I think is the best strategy to go for. And Zorzo, he is expecting or beating my expectations. Because he's still on that DRS train. He was within 2/10 of Johan pretty recently, last time I properly checked, and now he's just chilling on 5/10, which is nothing special. So he clearly does still have that pace, but he is on low DRS, but he's just able to burn it because he knows I'm not here to make overtakes, go all the way through that field. I've had the opportunity to do that early on. I'm going to pit before all of you guys probably, able to do that undercut, and then ERS management and defending is an issue for myself later. The only thing I need to do now is make that positions up and go all the way forward again.
We will see. Zorzo stays out for one more lap. I gotta say he's doing a really good job here of keeping up with these guys. Fair play to Zorzo. Once again, you're very lucky that we're actually broadcasting this one. Discord is seemingly having more major issues, so we're very lucky that this stream is actually on the air, and we've had no real issues. We've only dropped 0.6% of frames so far in this stream, so it's all going smoothly. That could be a commentator's curse. But in terms of the racing action, here comes Macho, tucked up right behind Dirk. Every time it seems like Ian is going to pull away from the Aston Martin behind him, Dirk and Macho seem to scheme together and catch straight back up. Ian's not having everything his own way like he did in Suzuka. Of course, he is leading the race and has led it for quite a while, but one little slide, one little run wide, and that race lead could be gone. Good comment in the stream chat saying sometimes I think F1 Esports is sometimes just a very close driver parade. It can be. We didn't have that necessarily in Suzuka, but Qatar, it's not uncommon to get a race like this one.
No, definitely not. Ian, meanwhile, 8/10s. I mean, he's just constantly just teasing with us. Like, he wants to just break away from that DRS. I think he certainly has the pace to do so, but he just needs to surprise Dig at the right moment. And Dig, he also got a lot of battery still, and he is just not fully going for it. Again, on this straight, he's just able to fully close that back down. Ian, of course, can be able to go defensive. Dirk doesn't even bother to try and follow him in that DRS. But Daniel now, he is very close behind covers, was putting a little bit of pressure on him there. But again, not going for that overtake. So the whole exciting of the DRS train, I guess everyone's just waiting to fully strike. They're just waiting for an opportunity, which just seemingly does not happen. And then they need to get creative pretty much. They need to find an overtake where you don't normally go for it. Prime overtaking opportunity in my eyes is turn 6. I mean, we've seen it happen IRL. If you brake nice and late, you're able to put your car up the inside and really go for it there. But you need to be within 2/10, I think, ideally. And then still, it will be a very risky move. You need to know that the other guy or car on the outside will be able to give you the respect that needs. But Macho is still within 2/10 of Dirk. Absolutely sending it. Now also tied on Dirk with ERS, which means that Dirk needed to use a lot more ERS to keep up with Ian, and Macho pretty much not been able to use or needed to use any ERS at all. So whilst we're already coming near to lap 13 and already getting close towards the halfway point already, everyone still maintaining that ERS, giving control towards other drivers around them and just hoping for a mistake to profit on.
Will the other drivers and engineers... Oh, Dirk, bit of a dummy into the pit lane. And what I was going to say in relation to that, actually, will the other drivers and engineers be looking at how long Zorzo went on that tyre? He is giving up now, pulls into the pit lane. But will they be looking at that and maybe try a hard soft as compared to a hard medium?
I think most drivers will do hard medium. Yeah. Meanwhile, Knuf making that move on Noel. Noel trying to go back at it there. But that is what I meant with surprises, and that's definitely one of them. It is Covers with a 3-second time penalty. It is one of the people that we expect and know can be very quick, who took that penalty, and he's going to be suffering a lot from that. Just a tiny mistake there, and immediately got... just mind's completely gone off it there. Again, a little bit going wide, but Danielle still too far back to really profit from it there. Knuf a little bit of a slide, small rear lock, but Knuf finally breaking that deadlock. And Noel, 6 seconds of penalties already. So that means that he certainly is not feeling all that controlled. Is it a little bit of nerves getting to him, Noel? Maybe, because we've already talked about how young and talented he is. But the only thing he, I guess, is missing is the confidence here and the control in his own car. Because again, going wide there, probably on warning number 7 already, also made a little bit of a mistake, which allowed Knuf to go past. So Noel, he knows he has the pace. Everyone knows it, and he's definitely showing it. But you just need to control himself a little bit more and focus again on not picking up these penalties here, because 6 seconds will be very costly for you at the end of the day. And we got pitters. It is Dirk who's in the pit lane. Covers follows him as well. Knuf is in. Noel is in. We're probably going to see the soft runners as well come in, which also actually has already done that last lap. So it should be on that, setting up purple middle sector immediately. But a lot of drivers into the pit lane. Pretty much half the field being led by Dirk this time round. Medium tyres are indeed going on towards that car. It's a good pit stop, of course, by the Aston Martin. It would be hard for people in this game to really screw up their pit stop unless they just forget to press the button. Dig now coming out towards, and Covers has lost a lot of time. What's happened to Covers?
He has lost a lot of time, and here comes the other Mercedes. This is Zorzo. He's going to get a handful of spaces here. The undercut attempt has clearly worked. It was a good strategy from Zorzo, this one. He's come out behind Newt, so he is the third highest medium tyre runner. But certainly it's going to be a medium tyre race till the end, and Dirk is attempting the undercut on Ian Van Unen. If you don't know what an undercut is, ladies and gentlemen, it's basically when you pit a lap earlier than the driver before, so you are on fresher tyres for one extra lap. So what Dirk is going to do here is he is going to go as quick as he possibly can. He's going to use all of his tools, that is his ERS, and it won't be DRS this time round, but if he had the DRS available, he'd use that as well, of course. He's going to try and get past Ian Van Unen while Ian is just exiting the pit lane, heating up his tyres. The undercut will be covered off by the AlphaTauri, who pulls into pit lane. Macho as well, as does Danielle, as does Mateo. Fede going to carry on here, so the Alfa Romeo will lead the race as opposed to the AlphaTauri for a few handful of laps. Philip as well is going to be on a podium placing for his first time here this season. But keep an eye on this man, AlphaTauri, Ian Van Unen, into the box, set of mediums, off goes the hard, on goes the medium, and then exit clutch released on time for Ian Van Unen. No hiccups in the pit stop, but keep an eye here on Dirk. He's going to be trundling down the start-finish straight. Keep an eye on that AlphaTauri exiting the pits. There it is. There is the AlphaTauri. He is coming out now right behind Dirk, and Dirk leads this race provisionally. The undercut attempt is successful from the Aston Martin. Ian still provisionally second here in this one, though. He will be able to have a go at that Aston Martin for the lead in this race. Newt then is up to provisional third. We still have 3 cars to pit, but Newt as well on a great strategy, tracking well here for a podium once again in Qatar. But that's a great strategy from Dirk. He's ahead for the time being, and track position can be crucial at this track, but Ian will certainly have a go at the Aston Martin before the end of this race.
Let's just give some respect. Engineer from Zorzo, from P18 to provisionally currently in P4, and the hard runners, I think they'll be staying out for a little bit, maybe attempting that overcut. I was expecting everyone from the top 6 to pit, but Fede was staying out, but this time around he is pitting. Philip, though, he is indeed staying out. He is doing exactly what you need to do. When you're not in a good position, you need to do something different. You need to change up your strategy, and he is going to be doing an overcut. If you maybe even stay out for 2 more laps, you will have such a fresh tyre advantage. And even if you get a virtual safety car or a full safety car, you will be able to profit from that. And I think that's a little bit of luck that Philip needs at this point and this time round. Ian, though, still fully in the DRS of Dirk, but he had to use a lot of ERS to get there. And Dirk is in such a comfortable position currently, seemingly in the best spot all round. But he does have that one lap all the time compared to Ian. And I think Ian would probably prefer being in second place, because he is able to just overtake Dirk now whenever he wants. He's able to save his ERS and prepare for those final couple of laps while still having that pace advantage. Again, Knuf as well. We don't really pay attention to it, Evan, but Knuf and Zorzo, second and third in the championship standings, they have just managed to drive themselves back up towards a provisional third and fourth.
Yeah, I agree with you on most of that. The first thing being, I think Ian is definitely in a good position here, still being in second. And the second one is that Newton Zorzo have had very underrated drives here. If you have a driver of the day choice so far, make sure to put it in the stream chat. If we get a lull in the action, we'll read it. That's a fourth time penalty of the day, but a second for covers. Only 2 drivers have penalties, but they both have 6 seconds each. That's no points for either of them as it stands, because that is very poor form for them. Philip is into the pit lane. He'll fall down the back a little bit, but he'll definitely have fresh tyres. So a good strategy here from the McLaren, potentially. We'll see what tyres he goes on, actually, quickly. It'll be the medium tyres for Philip. Onto the main straight. Is this time for Super Ian Van Unen to lead this Grand Prix once again? He actually pulls out of the slipstream, so he's still in management mode. He doesn't want to lead this. He's playing F1 Manager, not F1 23 for the time being, as Matteo actually sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. An intriguing one. He's going for the outside of the Ferrari, goes way around the outside here on Macho. That was not going to work in a month of Sundays, unfortunately. He was just too wide heading through the first corner there. He'll have to sit behind for the time being, but Matteo still in a good spot here. Remember, he's got to get one spot over Noel due to those penalties, but he might get passed on track anyways if he plays his cards right here, because Macho is right on the tail of the AlphaTauri. It's a late lunge down the inside here from Macho. The red light was flashing on the AlphaTauri, meaning he was regenerating energy, and Macho is going to capitalise on that one, and the Ferrari's pulled off a wondrous move heading in towards turn number 6. Pure racing genius from Macho. He is up to 6th place here in this one. Started from pole, of course, but now back up to 6th. On fresher tyres than a handful of drivers in front, so there could still be something in this one for the Ferrari driver wearing the Max Verstappen helmet.
You already saw Macho lining it up, running a little bit of a different line compared to Noel in those past 2 corners before, avoiding that dirty air a little bit, and then using a little bit of the battery before ending up in turn 6, and then braking later, going up the inside, being 100% sure that you're going to make that move and fully committing to it. Johan, meanwhile, picking up the penalty, covers fully outside of the DRS train. I would love to know what happened to Covers. He couldn't have changed the wing in that moment in time. The only thing I can think of is that he screwed up pressing the X button and just completely messed up his timing. Meanwhile, Ian, he nearly got put under a lot of pressure from Knuf behind, was forced to nearly go for that move there. Still good defending by Ian, and still got in the position that he wanted, going a little bit wide there towards turn number 2. Knuf proper from it right now. No, he does not decide to push on at all. Daniel meanwhile going up a little bit defensive on the inside. He just overtook Zorzo again, doesn't want to get re-overtaken. Are we going to see another set because everyone's so close towards each other? Macho is going to go for it again. No, defensive on the inside from Zorzo. Macho looking for the outside. Going to stick it on the outside. Going to stick it on the outside. Ian's gone. Ian's fully spun round. Your championship leader out of contention to win this race. I do not know if there was any contact or anything. I just know that Ian Van Unen is fully round and his race is all done and settled. And Dirk now, he is in the situation Ian was last time round. 1.1 second gap, and Knut will need to burn absolutely everything he has in his battery to just stick back in that DRS train, because that's all he needs to do to still have a chance at winning this race. Otherwise, Knut is going to get second in the exact same fashion as last time. Ian's gone round.
Yeah, Ian, since he was forced to go for the overtake heading in towards turn number 1, completely messed up his chance and was sort of uncertain for the rest of the lap. Ran wide through turn 2, looked very shaky in towards 4 and dropped it on the exit of 6. Newt has just about got in to the DRS, but I tell you what, Dirk is in a good spot here because he's got a lot more battery compared to the German behind. There's moves behind. Johan gets past the AlphaTauri, a horrid handful of laps for AlphaTauri. It's looking, they were second and third at one, they were 1-2 almost in qualifying at one point. Now it's looking like there's going to be a no score for the team here, which is a travesty considering Ian was looking comfortable for a race win. But Newt piled on the pressure, Newt made him make the mistake, and Now 0.6 of a second separates Dirk and Newt. Newt has got to be careful because Danielle is behind, but there was a lot of pushing from all these drivers to just make sure they stayed within the DRS and did not fall out of the train. Here comes Zorzo looking for the move on Johan in towards turn number 7, and Zorzo not able to get the job done on the Frenchman here this time round. Of course, Johan, P11 last season, he's doing quite good here in Qatar, currently running in 6th from a championship perspective. Of course, it is 12th for Johan, but he will jump up a few places because we're still here in the early stages. Ian's wheel died, seemingly. That's why he spun round. And can I just say something? There was a moment on the straight where I thought it was about to go, because there was a shaky moment where it looked like he was going to go straight off and veer off into the left. And it's very unfortunate for Ian, but that's not driver error then if his wheel died. Still, there's going to be no points in this one from Ian Van Unen. Lap 19 out of 29. Newt is he going to go for the race lead here and towards turn number 1? Does the German want to lead this Qatar Grand Prix? He absolutely does. To the outside goes the Alpine. Aston Martin still in front. Newt sits behind. Well defended by Dirk.
Thrown away a race win here. He had the gap of 1.2 seconds. He had such a battery advantage. Meanwhile, Matteo making that move on Macho, going all the way around the outside, nearly getting Danielle as well. But Dirk, he had such a better opportunity to just fully send it and go for that win, push on his ERS and just completely drive away. And now he's got a very hungry German behind him who wants that championship lead. He lost out on 2nd place last time round, and I do believe that Knuf is very hungry to take that race win. And now he is behind in the slipstream of another driver, able to regain ERS. So he has full momentum and full opportunity to go for it again. Ian, unfortunately, picking up that penalty now, just being mad at, I guess, himself or others. Got spun round again. His wheel just seems to be completely messed up there. And it is a game over for Ian Van Unen. Again, showing off what pace he has and definitely a contender for the remainder of the season. But today, we won't probably see anything from Ian again.
Yeah, really unlucky for Ian. He's got a chance to recover and come back strong next week in Hungary, where he'll be hungry for another race win. But Danielle now piling the pressure on the Alpine. Newt pulls to the outside. This was the Ian Van Unen tactic, and I gotta say, Danielle was piling the pressure, but now it's looking like Matteo is going to be the man to put on the pressure, and they all defend to the inside as Newt is going to go for the race lead here. He's had to make 2 moves to go for this one. They're 2 abreast in 2 occasions here around the first corner. Dirk now still leads, and it's an Aston Martin 1-2. Matteo trying to take advantage of the German here, who was just lifting off to try stay in 2nd spot here in this race. Matteo is taking advantage of it. It's fantastic racing action here in Qatar. This is incredible stuff, and it's an absolute joy to watch these guys go side by side on so many occasions. Macho still on the outside of Danielle here, heading through turn number 6 down towards turn number 7. It's actually not going to be any changes in position despite that. Ian Van Unen pits for a set of the soft tyres. He's going to try go for a fastest lap attempt. Unfortunately, won't get a point for it unless he does finish in the points, but still, he will have a little bit of pride at least leaving Lusail. But Dirk somehow still leads this race. This is going to be action-packed till the finish. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, you guys watching, don't go anywhere. I hope these cars do keep going to places, and hopefully that they will all make the end of this race, because Knuf, those battles are just getting more and more desperate. I think Knuf, he just wants to chill in 2nd place. He's like, oh, I just want to be here, regain my ERS and just chill. And all the drivers behind him, Armateo's putting on such pressure. And the pace that Armateo has to make those moves is absolutely incredible. Covers now, retiring in the pit lane after getting another penalty. But this time, Knuf, he decides finally to go into the lead. It is time. The German back into that lead. And now we got an Alpha or Aston Martin 2 and 3, unfortunately, and it is a disconnect. Oh my days, Govers is left, and it means that Dirk is left as well, because he's fully disconnected as well.
No.
It is Dirk that's gone as lobby host. Oh my days, and that is the twist that we did not want to see there. And is he back in? No, he's just going really slowly. Zorza was matching his pace on the straight, going slow as well. Dirk, from a race win, it was a 99% chance that he was winning that race, to disconnecting and his whole race progress being thrown out of the window. Codemaster Sorier said, goodbye, you're not winning today, buddy.
It's the first race after Halloween, but this is the true horror story for anyone who seems to have a good chance of a race win here. If I'm Matteo and Newt, get back to about 5th or something just to make sure you finish. But Dirk disconnecting due to Covers leaving. Whoever was the lobby host there, if it was covers, should not have left. That's just bad protocol, I think. But I think it was Dirk, because he was the man sending the invite, so it was just a complete disconnect for Dirk, which is so unfortunate. To the outplayed racing drivers, both out of this one, it's Max van der Geest and Covers, who are both out of the Qatar Grand Prix. Newt leads it by 0.6 of a second, ahead of Matteo in the Aston Martin. It is the Italian versus the German. Pardon me, apologies folks. Matteo, one of our newcomers here. He got the promotion from F3 after finishing 4th in the F3 Championship last season. The Alpine of Newt, of course, is a long-time F2 driver, but he finished 17th in the F2 Championship last season. It's two guys who are very hungry for success here. I know we're racing in Budapest next week, but certainly the action is all here in Qatar, and it is an Alpine, Aston Martin, Haas, Ferrari, Red Bull top 5. Then it is Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, Mercedes, Williams and Haas. The only team scoring double points as of now is Haas.
Yeah, for sure. Zorzo is still up for a respectable 6th place currently if we look at penalties. But Evan, let's keep attention and don't forget Shizou Fede. He stuck it out for 2 laps longer and he's on the best tyres of everyone around him besides Philip, but he's in 11th with a penalty. But Fede, 7 lap all tyres, everyone around him on either 8 or 9 lap all tyres. He has the opportunity right now to go for it and make some really good things happen on his tyre wear, because everyone else is struggling and fighting around him, flashing, and he very close towards being below 10% of ERS again as well. But he is still very much controlling it, and he just has a lot more grip than anyone else. He's able to use less of the tyres while still staying in there. Macho Mio going up the inside. It's contact there. Macho's gone round. Daniel taken with him. Macho broke too late, hit the rear end of Armateo, and that is his championship or race win home. All over. Daniel able to stick in the DRS from that. Unfortunately, lost so many positions, and then again the whole race thrown out the window. Things have changed again. 2 guys gone, and now it is just a battle between Knuf and Armateo and Fede to go for it. Fede only needs to gain 3 more positions in 5 laps. I think we need to watch out for Fede here.
There's going to be a really hefty penalty for our pole sitter coming there. Or Macho, he just completely outbroke himself in towards turn number 1. And I gotta say, Matteo is going to be thanking every guardian angel looking down on him, because he almost got absolutely cleaned out by that Ferrari in towards turn number 1. Look, it's an error from Macho. He obviously did not intend to do that, so I'm going to clear his name here. There was no intention there, but it is just a really rookie mistake to make it at this stage of a Grand Prix, and that's points gone for Macho. And I tell you what, he might be lucky to appear next week, depending on the steward's opinions of it, because he has cleaned Danielle out of it as well. But Danielle's still in the points, which is, it's good for him. At least he can still try to get something on the board. Lap 24 out of 29. The ERS is in Matteo's hands, and of course he has the DRS as well. So Newt he has a couple of laps here to think about this one, because I can't see Matteo going for this until the last lap. As we see Philip actually getting past Danielle and towards turn number 1. Turn number 1 is not going to be a happy corner for Haas, as Ghost Kings almost gets spun round. I think there could be a bit of damage here for Danielle, actually, because his teammate is all over the back of him. I said Haas were the only team scoring double points. That is even a bit of a stretch at this point, because they're both 9th and 10th and both under a lot of pressure from Jakob Konius behind. Here comes Ghost Kings down the inside of his teammate. The Haas is side by side. Do not hit your teammate. Rule number 1 of racing. Neither of them do, but they're still wheel banging. Heading down towards turn number 7 here. It's Ghost Kings on the outside. Danielle on the inside. Ghost Kings tries to hook it round the outside. They're still side by side, and now no longer. Ghost Kings gets the job done. That was great racing between the pair. Very clean, and I don't think the Haas team boss will have any problems with that. They've sorted out the differences, and now the lead Haas is Ghost Kings, but Danielle under a lot of pressure from Jakob Konius, and I think that incident is going to put a dampener on his evening.
I think it's a little bit harsh of the penalty that you were describing. It's still fully racing a match and just making a little bit of a mistake, mainly eliminating himself out of the race but costing Danielle a few positions. I mean, I hope it's not a race win for him, because I don't think that's would be the true penalty for it. But we have to look at the positives, and the main positive here is that we are still going. Discord was down, PSN's down now also. So It's going to be a very exciting one. And the fact that we're still going here makes it really, really interesting. Philip Memo finally making that move done on Diogo Silva, getting himself up in 7th, and he now needs to push as much as he can on those good ties to make that position up. Fede being a little bit disappointing, unable to really make those moves, and we need to now look at the rest and the positions that these leaders are in currently. Knuf, around 40% of ERS. Amateo, probably around 2/3 of his ERS management. Johan nearly got nothing. Fede also pretty much got nothing. Then you got Noel, who also got a penalty, so I don't really need to look at him. And then you got Zorza on 30%, but he's all the way down in P6. So from my calculations, from my inspection, the only people at this point that can really realistically win, it would be either Knuf or Amateo.
So a very interesting prediction from Timon here, saying it is going to be Newt or Mateo. Penalties across the field. We'll give you a brief look at them. Here it is 3 for Johan, 6 for Noel, 3 for Philip, and then 6 for Ian Van Unen. But Ian, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. He might go from the lofty heights of winning to the on-track wooden spoon in 2 weeks. But very unfortunate for Ian. It's not been a great race for him. But here we go then. Is Matteo going to go for the race lead? I can't see him going for it at this point. I think that will be very, very silly. Johan's got to try to do something if he wants to try and get a result here in this one. He needs to pull the gap out to everyone here on this field. Thankfully, he's 2 drivers behind him with penalties, so he might still be lucky to get a decent points finish here. Fede, if he wants to win this one, has got to start making moves as well, but this is getting very close at the front of this pack.
For sure, but it's still only a matter of time. Everyone within 3/10 of each other, and it's just incredible, this racing, how close it can get. It is one of the many reasons why sim racing, in my opinion, is so much better than IRL racing. But we are just counting down as if it is the New Year's. You are just waiting for that clock to hit 0 and to all celebrate. But at this moment, probably only 1 or maybe even 2 drivers will be able to celebrate, and we will be able to congratulate them in those post-race interviews. Meanwhile, Ian does retire. He retires on lap 27 because it means that there are no more safety cars that can be reached from this one onwards. So Ian, he drove on with a broken wheel but unable to really make any moves. That Macho, meanwhile, picking up another penalty as well. He has already ruined his race. He's now done it even more, but no safety cars able to happen, like I said before. So those penalties for Macho will not really happen. He might just set his eyes out on that fastest lap. Let's see if Amateo is going to go for a move earlier on now. It is just a DRS, but he's gaining, closing, and Amateo, he's going to go for the lead with 2 more laps to go. Amateo says, it's my time to shine now. I'm in the lead. It's a little bit of contact there. Knuf did hit the backhand. I think he did hit the backhand of Amateo. Still in 2nd place. No major crash there, but that's definitely not what he wanted to see. And if Amateo is going to put on pressure right now, it's going to put a lot of issues in Amateo. Or if Amateo's going to push there, it's going to be very difficult for Knuf. And the car that pulled off on the left-hand side, that was Ian, his car that had retired.
Newt's got to use everything he can now because he's 0.6 of a second behind. He's got to hope that he is quicker in this section of the track. Matteo believes in his craft. He believes that he can win this race by defending with that power, with not having that powerful DRS advantage, I should say. The battery situation, we'll bring it on screen briefly. It is currently 83 for Matteo, 41 for Newt. Matteo is burning, wants to pull the gap to Newt. What a result this would be in his 2nd ever F2 race for Matteo if he could get the job done. Johan has a penalty behind. He's also doesn't really have an awful lot of ERS to play with, so he's just going to hope that he can defend and pull that gap out to cars behind. But here we go, rounding through turn number 15 for the penultimate time, and then 16 for the penultimate time. Matteo, a little bit out of shape there, but this is one of the last overtaking opportunities. Last lap of the Qatari Grand Prix here in PSGL F2. Newt gaining and gaining. Is it enough for Newt? Here he goes. Here comes the Alpine. That Renault power unit working overdrive in towards turn number 1. It's going to have to be the long way if it's anything. Matteo defends successfully into turn number 1. He's got the battery advantage for the rest of the lap. Is it late for Newt, or can he maybe have one last overtaking opportunity, potentially somewhere in the middle sector if there's a mistake for Matteo? It's been the curse of race leaders, but no, Newt is falling and fading away quickly, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the joyous evening that was potentially in store for the German driver. Matteo now at a 0.6 of a second advantage here. The Aston Martin is peaking at this point in the Grand Prix. Here he comes rounding through the middle sector for the final time. 7 7 tenths of a second. Just keep an eye on that gap, because one mistake from Matteo and this could be blown wide open again. But he's been flawless so far on this lap, doing an excellent job rounding in towards the triple right-handers for the final time. Keep an eye on Newt. He's giving it his all, is Newt. He wants this so badly, but potentially it was too little too late for Newt. Turn 15 for the final time here for Matteo, and then in towards turn number 16. It was one Aston Martin's day in the form of Dirk, but the trouble unfortunately hit for him, and the celebrations begin early in his second ever F2 race. The Italian of Matteo comes home to win the Qatar Grand Prix, number 46, where his idol Rossi's been so successful in the past. We have a new winner in PSGL F2 for the second week running. Matteo leads home Newt, who leads home Fede.
Is the end of that race that we were somewhat expecting, but of course Matteo driving that incredible race last week, only getting 15th. This week fully out on top and making a few nice overtakes. He pretty much stormed his way through the field, really showing off his pace there, and he has definitely put himself on the map to be a championship contender right here. But your new championship leader is the guy that finished up in second place. Enelan Knut will be on 22 points if my maths are correct, which I hope they are. It should be a basic calculation. But on 22 points, we will be having Knut, and behind them will be the driver of the day, of course, today as well, Zorzo. Let's just maybe a little bit of attention on him whilst we will see the podium celebrations going on. Zorzo, P18 all the way towards P4. Starting on softs, going well, but was around 10th position when the pit stops came. Got a little bit of luck with incidents, but going from P18 towards P4, again, amazing pace in the race. That was just incredible.
Yeah, magnificent for him. That's a stunning drive, and it goes to show that sometimes the on-paper strategy is not the best one. Sometimes you got to be a little bit different if you want to be successful in motorsport. But it is an Italian 1-3. It is Matteo who leads home Newt. But just take a look at that. The top 4 started 12th, 11th, 14th, and 18th. Well, this is a qualifying track, some would tell you, including me, of course. But what a race we had here this evening. It is Matteo who wins with a race time of 41 minutes and 39 seconds. Newt, the German, brings it home second. He now leads the Drivers' Championship in PSGL F2. Fede in third, Zorzo in fourth, and it was Johan, Diogo Silva, Ghost Kings, Philip, Jacob Conius picking up 9th from a DNF in qualifying. Then it was Danielle who still gets a point. Then it was all the penalty runners, Noel, Macho, down to 11th and 12th. And then it was Tales, Dirk, Zane, your non-finishers by Ian Van Unen, Max van der Geest, and OP Covers. Hopefully we get to hear from our podium drivers, as Timon has just asked, just as well as I did. So hopefully we can get an interview from our podium drivers. Timon, I think I know what the answer is going to be to this question, but if you had to pick a driver of the day, who would you go for?
I mean, it would be Zorzo. That drive from him was stunning, doing something else with the strategies and really nailing it there. I think for me that was one of the driver of the day drives, especially since the best starting position in the top 10 was P7, and that's the guy that finished in 10th. Everyone else behind, from like outside of the top 10, everyone came. The whole order, pretty much, you just flip it around and you would have gotten this end result. Not exactly, of course, but pretty much just like that. We're now just going to have to wait until the driver joined the waiting room. I am seeing already a feisty German being there waiting for that interview to happen. But yeah, plenty of drivers doing really nice. I mean, also Philip. He ended up, I believe, on track in P6. Whilst he started in P17. Unfortunately, he had a penalty which made him drop back a little bit. But it's a driver we haven't really heard of before. And he drove an incredible debut race as well. So there are so many drivers that have just done very nicely this race. And of course, we need to still look at Ian. His pace was incredible. Dirk, if he didn't disconnect, where could he have been? So this is a very big race of if, buts, and maybes. But we do not know what's going to happen. And we don't know what's going to happen again next week, because let's not forget that next week the racing is fully back. I do believe it's not the break week then. It isn't. We will be racing around Hungary again, which is the full opposite of this track. Hungary, of course, known as a little bit of a Mickey Mouse track. Very a lot of slower corners. You need to turn a lot more, use the braking pedal, and where you didn't have one heavy braking zone in Qatar, pretty much every single corner is a heavy braking zone in Hungary.
Let's bring in first and second then, shall we? This is Newt and Matteo. Hello, lads. Can you hear us? Hello, Newt and Matteo.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you both now perfectly. Let's start with our race winner, Matteo, then. It is a fabulous drive, maybe a little bit of an unexpected win. You took it in the penultimate lap. How is it from your perspective? You are on mute as well, just in case you didn't realise.
So let's say this race didn't start well because I couldn't join the lobby in time for the first attempt in quali. I think you saw that. And yeah, since quali isn't my strength, I knew it was going to be a tough one, but I just did damage limitation and got P12. I knew I could do something from there, but I never expected to get P1, to be honest. But after the first lap, I got 4 positions in one corner. And then as I said, maybe I can get a top 5. And then when I saw that after the pit window, everyone just went crazy, basically, I had a chance for the win because I had much more ERS, pretty much better tires than everyone. And yeah, I just managed the race well from there on. And yeah, that's it, basically.
Well, of course, it wasn't necessarily the season opener to be for you in Suzuka, but the win here today certainly is going to propel you up in the championship. What sort of the aims for this season? Where do you think you can finish in the standings come Bahrain?
Like I said, in this tier, especially, quali is really important. And since it's not my best point, I knew it was going to be a difficult season going into this one. But nevertheless, I knew that some way or another, I could always get some points in the race due to my racecraft. And yeah, I think I showed it tonight. Let's just hope to continue like this, maybe do some better qualies to help in the races. And yeah, that's it. Let's hope to make some races like this one.
Timon, any questions?
Well, I mean, improve your quality, of course, if you have 3 runs, it might be a little bit easier. But at one moment in the race, I mean, it was a very slight moment, but you and Dirk were in second and third. Was there any communication between the two of you to work together and really just try to secure that 1-2 for that small moment? Or were you guys not in a party, not working together at all, just fully working for yourself?
As some of you might know, me and Dirk were initiated for some time, so I gotta say I know him. I know him. There wasn't any communication between us two in Suzuka and in Qatar, but from my point of view, if we had to work together, I would, to get some points also for the Constructors' Championship. But I don't really know if it will be a thing I will prioritize over the Drivers' Championship. In the end, we're in the same team, but in PSGL, everyone races for itself. So, if there's the chance, I would work together. But let's say I would put the Drivers' Championship first in my priorities.
Okay, fair. I mean, congratulations on your race win. I hope you have an amazing evening.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Matteo. Appreciate that. Hopefully you enjoy the celebrations. Now to our second place man, who is back for another post-race interview this week. We only heard from him once last season. We've heard from him twice in 2 weeks. We're being a little bit spoiled with Newt interviews for the time being. But Newt, it was almost the return to the top of the podium this week. You were so close on this occasion, but it was a hectic race, and you still did come through from near the back of the grid. How did it go from your cockpit?
So first of all, quali was an absolute nightmare. I had the typical quali that I usually have. Are you still there?
Yes, that was Matteo.
Oh yeah, okay, I was a bit confused. Yeah, basically I had the first one was invalidated, then the second one was a bit too careful because I just wanted to have a decent lap on the board. And then the last one, I felt like I could have gotten pole. And my second and third sector was definitely enough for pole. But I completely missed turn 1 because I was so in my lane that I didn't realize that one of the brake markers was like one of the brake boards. Oh my god, my voice. it was a loud race in the party. Yeah, I missed one of the braking boards, and that was basically it. I was already lost 3/10 in the first corner, so I'm still pretty happy that I did a pretty decent lap for that mistake. And then my start was pretty good, I think, and I also managed to keep out of the way of the guys who just killed each other on track. There were a few incidents where me and Matteo had to avoid incidents, so yeah, that was one of the reasons why we managed to move up to a decent position before the pit stops. And then obviously the undercut is pretty powerful this game, and I managed to pull it off pretty well, I think, had a pretty good outlap. And from there on, I just was in my rhythm. I didn't know if Matteo was a lap earlier or on the same lap as me in the pits. So I usually, when someone is faster than me on fresher tires, I want them to get past and then get dragged along. But in this case, I felt pretty confident, so I just kept going until the last few laps. And then obviously on the last lap, you want to be in second position. So I tried to let him go through, and it kind of worked, but then I completely missed my braking point, and that was basically it. From there on, I just wanted to finish, basically.
I know you said last week that you're taking it race by race, but I would not be doing my job as a commentator and interviewer if I did not ask if somewhere in the back of your mind you're thinking about a championship win, because you are the championship leader after 2 rounds. It's not speculating, you are leading.
I said that if I'm not in like P15 or so after 3 races, then I'm gonna aim for the championship, and I'm in a pretty good position right now. So yeah, I'm still a bit hesitant, but I definitely want to fight at the front. I feel like after 2 races, I'm pretty confident in my abilities. Just need to improve a little bit on my consistency in quali. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. It's already going much better than last.
Timon, over to you.
I mean, I pretty much have the best question of them all. Are you gonna keep P2 this time, or are you gonna get a penalty again?
I'm 99% sure that I'm not gonna get a penalty. Obviously, you never know. Obviously, you never know if Matteo did something. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. Yeah, but yeah, I'm absolutely gonna take P2. And I don't think I was involved in anything. I just saw a couple of people die in front of me, and also at the end, 2 people just went straight on in turn 1, which I didn't really fully see, but yeah, it was a bit funny, to be honest. But yeah, I'm losing the point. I'm definitely
the final one.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna keep P2. Yeah.
The final question: you gonna be back for Hungary? Because I mean, last time you said, "Oh, Qatar, maybe a decent track for me." Is Hungary gonna be the same, or because the track's pretty opposite?
Yeah, I haven't really done Hungary this game. Obviously, Japan and Qatar were 2 of my best tracks. So yeah, I don't really know how it's gonna work out for me on a track that I don't really know as much as the first 2. But I said at the beginning of the season that this calendar really suits me. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to be at the front again.
Well, I hope you again have a great evening. You've probably once more just woken up, but I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, congrats with the P2.
Just one more
Thank you.
question. What's more enraging, a DRS train at Qatar or the average foot champs lobby?
I have to give it to the DS train. It's infinitely more annoying to, like, especially when you have 2 warnings after 8 laps and you have to focus for 21 laps in a DS train where constantly there's the threat of someone overtaking you or someone in front of you spinning and you crashing into them. It's just pure stress for like 20-30 minutes. So I would say for champ is a little bit more chill.
Thank you very much, Newt. Once again, greatly appreciate you joining us for the post-race interview. And if all goes well, we will hear from Newt after the Hungarian Grand Prix next week. You can see the remainder of the calendar on your screen. Of course, we got a break week in between Hungary and Las Vegas. And God knows what's going to happen in Las Vegas. We will get a taste of F1 a few days before that, actually. And yeah, then we will see what chaos kicks off as Vegas does PSGL for the first time. Then we'll head to Austria, Monza, Singapore. Then it is Christmas. And then we have Spain, Miami, Silverstone and Bahrain to round off the calendar. But from myself and Simon, thank you very much for joining us here for PSGL F2. We hope we see you next week once again. It was a great broadcast. It was a great race once again here at the second highest tier of PlayStation action. But please do stay safe, stay well. We will leave you with a word from our title sponsors, GT and Mega. Bye-bye.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. Oh, here he's through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.